Look, I think when people say, what's the current state of Muslim-Jewish relations, it's a very strange question. There are, over 1 billion Muslims in the world. It's a very unique religion that affects very different cultures. And there are a lot of different Jews around the world. I think that the bottom line is we're people. And when you come down to the core of it, we're people who, have a religion that gives us faith and gives us a moral structure. And if you know anything about the real roots of Islam and what Islam is actually about, or what Judaism is actually about, it's about being good to each other. And I think that when you take those Muslims and those Jews, the relations are fantastic. We actually have a lot of similarities, and we come together and respect each other's cultures. And then you have on both sides some people who aren't actually living as Jews or Muslims, who they're living in a way that isn't in the ways of Judaism or isn't in the ways of Islam, and they create conflict. And right now, I think the way to combat that is not worrying about that generation. It's about educating the youth. And I think the biggest concern I have over the past 10 years and the 10 years moving forward is that the next generation needs to step up and be those leaders that we're waiting for. And Coretta Scott King said it best. It goes, each generation has to fight the fight all over again. Now, it could be for civil rights. That could be for Muslim Jewish relations. It could be a lot of different things, but it's time for our generation to start stepping up. I feel like with One Love Manchester, it was an opportunity for that city to stand up and say they weren't afraid. For me, it wasn't about different communities. It was about one community. It was about the fact that children of all different religions and races were targeted. They weren't saying, excuse me, are you Muslim? Or, excuse me, are you Jewish? Excuse me, are you Christian? Excuse me, are you black? Excuse me, are you white? Someone stood there and waited for children and their parents to run out after a concert and decided to take their lives. So to me, I was angry. And now I'm grateful to Ariana and everyone else who said yes and let me throw that burden on their shoulders, because we were able to take the narrative back. I mean, when are we supposed to, if we're scared, are we supposed to wait 4 years to take our kids to the movies, or wait 6 years to go to a baseball game or a football game? We have to live our lives, and that's the only way you stop them, because if they see it's not working, they won't continue. And unfortunately, I think that there's a lot of hatred out there in the world, and more is to come. But we just have to be vigilant and strong. And I think that concert, when I stood in that stadium and I saw 60,000 people gathered when they could be at home watching on BBC in the comfort of their homes, and they decided 2 weeks after to stand in that stadium and be defiant, less than 24 hours after the London attack. That was the greatest act of defiance I'd ever seen, and the city of Manchester gave me strength moving forward.